From weekend getaways to extended road trips, California is full of places to explore. And for over 100 years, the Auto Club has been there to help. Our travel agents offer you expertise regarding destination information, trip planning and reservations, either in office, on the phone, or online. Across the state, throughout the country, or around the world. Through all life's travels, we're always with you.
Road Trip has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell. Get ready for an adventure, because here's the setup. Right now we're in the San Joaquin Valley, about 35 miles southwest of Fresno. We're in Kings County, and we're getting ready to visit a community I've been hearing about for years. It's a very historic and colorful place. Lots of nice people live here. And what makes this town so special is that its residents have gone out of their way to protect and to celebrate their historic downtown. Lots to see and do when you visit this place. So here we go. Get ready for an adventure. We've come to downtown Hanford on a road trip. Okay, here we go. Our road trip begins. And Dave, we just pulled into town, and you've already loaded us up into a convoy of 1, 2, 3 old-timey fire trucks. Where are you taking us, and why are we in these fire trucks?
Huell, we've got this set up in Hanford for kids and adults to come to town year-round. We load them up in the fire truck after they get off Amtrak. We take them downtown, show them the historical sites, let them ride on the carousel. They have lunch or bring their lunch with them and just walk around and have a great time, have some ice cream, and then get back on the train.
So this is part of an organized effort that the city of Hanford has put together to bring how many thousands of kids a year come into town like this?
Well, we'll probably bring around 12,000 people a year into town.
You're 12,000?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a town of 51,000. And this month alone in May, we'll have about 1,700 kids and adults in town.
Wow. Now the kids just got off the Amtrak, so they had the train experience. You can hear the train whistle in the background. Hanford is a railroad town.
Hanford's a railroad town, and it's named after James Madison Hanford, who used to be the paymaster for the railroad.
Okay, so you're tying into history, and the kids come into town. Hello, kids, give us a wave. Yeah, they're all excited back there. And where are you kids from?
Fresno!
So you've all come in on the train from Fresno, right?
Yes!
Oh! We have arrived in downtown Hanford. Boy, I'm telling you what, nothing low-key about this.
Absolutely not.
Come on, kids. Everybody get out. We got a group of kids here, a group of kids here, another group of kids back there. Boy, this is something. Now, they all have an agenda.
Oh, yeah.
And so do we. So I guess it's time for us to actually start our tour right now. Now we're starting out in front of this beautiful old County of Kings courthouse. What's the story on the courthouse?
It was built in 1896 and was used until the 1970s when we outgrew it.
Now wait a minute, this isn't a courthouse anymore?
Not anymore.
What's in there?
There are offices today and a restaurant at the top floor. Originally, they planned to put shops in there, but the shops didn't work out, but the offices are doing very well.
So it has been rejuvenated, renovated to become a private office building with a restaurant up on the top floor.
It's owned by the city of Hanford.
What a beautiful building. Boy, I tell you what, you hear that train whistle. It goes by every 5 minutes, doesn't it, Dave?
Absolutely. We get about 31 trains a day through here.
So Hanford really is a rail town.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, now we've seen the courthouse, and boy, it is a beautiful courthouse, and thank goodness it's preserved.
Yes.
You almost lost it, didn't
Right.
you?
The city fathers were going to destroy it and put in a parking lot, and the local citizens took up a petition, went to city council with about 3,000 names requesting to save it, and so that did save the building.
Back in the
1970s.
They were literally going to tear it down and put up a parking
That was
lot,
the
just
plan,
like the
yeah.
song said.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh. Well, congratulations, because
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you were one of the ringleaders.
Yes, I took a lot of names down, right?
All right, so we go from the old courthouse. Look what we got over here. This is what is really interesting. I have visited a lot of town squares all over California. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of statues on the square, a lot of buildings on the square. I have never seen a carousel on the town square.
Well, this was developed by Max Walden, who came in to create the courthouse.
Develop the courthouse.
Develop it, yes. And this was his idea. He brought this carousel over from Visalia, where it had been sitting unused for many years, and put it in here, and it's been a real asset for our community.
So the kids, they get off the fire truck, and their first stop is a carousel.
That's it. They have just a ball on it. It's a 1939 Allen Herschel. Been fully restored, and it regularly passes the Cal OSHA inspections, so it's just a fun ride. It's a great attraction. Kids have a wonderful
Can the
time.
locals use it from time to time as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have done many birthday parties, many weddings on it. We run it every Thursday night at our farmers market, which is a huge event every Thursday.
So wait a minute. You can either ride it during the farmers market on Thursday nights, or you can get married on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've only come about a block from the courthouse, and look, more kids coming out of the first stop that we were going to make after we left the courthouse. Where are we now?
We're at the Hanford Carnegie Museum, which was originally a Carnegie library,
So this was built back in,
1905.
wow, and now it's made into a museum, and it's one of the stops for the kids, but it's also one of the stops for big kids like us if we want to tour around town.
Absolutely. The museum has a wonderful garden behind. We have lots of events in there. We go back in and step back in time and see what Hanford was like in 1895.
But you know, everywhere you go in this town, it's kind of like stepping back in time. The old courthouse down there from 1896, we're standing right across the street from, what's this building, Dave?
This is the Oddfellows Hall, and it was built back in 1905, about the same time. So you can imagine how much construction activity there was on this street back there.
What was this, an agricultural town?
That's correct. It's pretty much agriculture, and the railroad was put through here to carry the produce in and out.
Now that's not still used as an Oddfellows Hall,
No,
is it?
there's an antique shop in there now.
Well, the
which
whole
is kinda
building
fun.
looks antique.
Yeah. Perfect setting, huh?
Yeah. Okay, we're inside this absolutely, actually this is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
This is exactly the way it was built as a library.
Absolutely exactly.
Laid
Yes.
out the same way it was.
Yes, as all Carnegie libraries were.
Now
So,
you
yeah.
have a little bit of everything in here. This is
We do.
obviously the local museum. We
is.
cannot go through every exhibit you've got here.
No, it would take a while.
What
Yes.
would you show us as your primo Hanford Museum exhibit?
I believe that most people want to come and see the Amelia Earhart display that we have.
The Amelia Earhart display. Why
Yes.
Amelia Earhart display in Hanford, California?
Yeah, absolutely, because, as you know, she was a pilot, and she had a very wonderful friend, Mary Packwood, who was also a pilot, and Mary Packwood lived in this area, and they would then go fly in the old
They were
Naval
both
Air
pilots.
Both pilots, and fly in the old Naval Air Station in Lemoore.
So you've got what? What kind of memorabilia have you?
Here's what we have. The last time Amelia Earhart was here was 1937. And when she flew in, she brought that little suitcase.
This little suitcase
that
over
little
here.
suitcase and this material. And she was going to have this dress made when she returned. And obviously she never returned. And so her friend Mary Packwood had the dress made, and then Mary Packwood wore it herself. And many people don't know that Amelia Earhart was a dress designer.
Really?
Yes, she had her own line. And
the Amelia Earhart line of clothing, of dresses.
Yes.
Well, this is amazing. You've got a lot of little things all around here.
And most of the other items deal with Mary Packwood. And one of the things we like to show is her grandmother's clamshell that's on the wall, which is her birth certificate and or passport.
What do you mean, her birth certificate and or passport?
Well, because in those days, many people would put the name of the baby, full name, and the date of birth, and the country, city, state, where they were born.
On a shell?
On a shell, and the parents' names, sometimes grandparents' names. So you could take that from country to country with you.
See, now that's...
Instead of paper.
Now those are two things that I knew nothing about, that Amelia Earhart was a dress designer,
yes,
and that her friend, Mary Packwood, who is also, I assume, one of the early female pilots who
right,
I'd never heard of before,
right,
who had a birth certificate etched on a clamshell.
Absolutely.
See, you never know what you're going to discover when you visit the local museum here in Hanford.
You don't.
It's all here.
Yes.
Okay, we're heading outside because there's something else when you come to this museum out back, and I understand this is the town's pride and joy back here.
I believe so. I believe so. We do weddings, we do all kinds of parties, we do birthdays, we do just about any kind of get-together.
So this is just kind of the back of the old library, which was probably not used very much back here.
No.
This was what, like a parking lot or something?
Absolutely.
And you've turned it into this beautiful little garden with the tree, and you've got the sign over there says old phone building,
yes,
so you've made something nice out of the side of one of the old buildings in town.
Because these buildings here were built from 1897, and then by 1905 this building was finished. And so this one's Romanesque architecture, which is really beautiful.
Boy, it really is. And you've got a little gazebo.
And
what happens over here?
We got a, well, actually that's where the ministers usually stand, and the bride and groom, or if you have a little special party, you put the special people there. And
you know, a lot of people are getting married in Hanford. We've already heard that some people get married on the carousel.
This is true.
So they can get married on the carousel, they can get married in the gazebo back behind the museum.
That's right.
And then you have your reception right out here. Boy, this is beautiful.
It is beautiful, and we have a full kitchen in the Caminal building, which used to be the old Beacon Oil building.
Right here.
Right here, and they donated it to us, and it was very nice. They donated it, and I said, that's really great, but we don't have any money to move it. So then they came up with the money to move it for us also.
Oh, so they moved this from somewhere else?
Yes, across town, actually.
All of this fits together so beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Yes, and a lot of really nice people went out of their way to do this.
Make it all happen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's time for lunch.
Absolutely. This is the Star Restaurant. It's been open since 1901. It's the oldest restaurant in town.
Okay, so the Star is the oldest restaurant in town.
That's correct, yes.
And what's the other choice?
The other choice is Artworks, which is right next door. That's the oldest storefront in town. And within recent years, it's been turned into a restaurant.
So we got two very old buildings and two very old restaurants. Boy, the Star Restaurant has a good feel to it. You can feel the history in here, and you can always tell about a restaurant by the people who choose to eat there. Because, fellas, this is kind of a meat and potatoes situation, isn't it?
It is. It is some of the best food in town.
So is this has been here forever? You've probably been eating here since you were a kid.
For years.
Has it changed much?
Not much. Looks about the same.
Same wood on the wall. And you're the next generation coming here.
Yes. Actually, yes, because it's been here all my life, but because I'm the newer generation, I hadn't really frequented much, but now I find myself here every other day, you know.
Well, this is my father.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I know he's been coming here for years to have coffee in the morning and
wow.
Yeah.
And how would you describe the feeling of this place to somebody who's never been in here?
I don't know. Basically, you don't describe what it looks like. You just describe the food. And they got great burgers. Not usually get.
It's just like home here.
Yeah, it is.
You want to see the people that are originally from this town from the last 30 years, you go here. They're all here.
Okay, now we've come to the counter and we've hooked up with your name, sir.
My name Roger Knopp.
And you are the present-day owner of the Star Restaurant.
Yes, I am.
How many owners have there been since it opened in 1901?
It has been changing 3 owners so far, that including me.
So you're the 3rd owner in over 100 years?
Yes, I am. It's been a long time.
When you bought this place, what kind of changes did you make in it?
There's not that much change so far.
You didn't have any desire to repaint the walls, take out all the old wood, put in a lot of plastic?
No, actually not, just a painting.
Just kind of keep it the way it was.
Keep the way it was, and the food, everything's still the same like in old time.
All right, so nothing has changed, including their breakfast.
Well, I don't think he's changed his breakfast price since 1901. It's probably one of the best breakfasts in town. You come in and have eggs and your choice of ham or bacon and a pancake. So you expect, a little pancake like that. It comes on a plate about that big.
Well, forget about lunch. We need to be here for breakfast in the morning.
We missed the breakfast. You just
we got here too late. Okay, here he comes. I assume you're the owner.
Yes, I am.
Your name, sir?
Steve Bannister.
Okay, you own this place.
Artworks is mine.
You run this place.
Yes.
And you are making the sandwiches out back.
Yeah, you have to do a little bit of everything.
Well, tell us about this place, because Dave said this is the oldest storefront in Hanford, not necessarily the oldest restaurant.
Well, 6th Street here was our main street, and so I have one of the few buildings that wasn't remodeled in the 50s. So I have the oldest original storefront in Hanford.
It escaped urban renewal.
Exactly. I had cheap owners, and I'm glad for that.
And what have you done with it in here? We were just next door at the Star, which is very old and historic. This is a little more trendy and kind of...
A little bit. We just try to collect old Hanford memorabilia, and so we try to keep with the old historic theme as well, since the building was built in the 1890s. We just try to be distinctively different. That's the thing that we've done since the beginning, and we keep on trying to do that.
And this really fits in with what Hanford is all about, doesn't it?
Yeah, we try to keep, we have old menus on the wall, old Hanford memorabilia, just anything that's from bygone era of Hanford, we try to collect and display.
You've got another store right over here.
And we have a great gift shop full of neat cards and unique gifts.
And then you've got your all-purpose restaurant in here.
All-purpose restaurant. We have a great patio out back.
So it's working.
It is, We have a great time. We have a lot of fun.
We're going to stay for lunch. What should we get?
Oh, we have some great things. We have, if you've heard of the Imperial Dynasty, Arian has made some of the things that they had at the Imperial Dynasty.
What was the Imperial Dynasty? Was that famous Chinese restaurant?
It wasn't a Chinese restaurant. It was a continental restaurant with a Chinese flair.
Located here in Hanford.
In China Alley, right. And if you look in our deli case, we're also serving their escargot today, too. So they were famous for their escargot.
So you took a lot of their old recipes.
Well, we have our chef in the back is Ariane Wing, and she's a relative of Richard Wing, who started the dynasty.
So maybe we should have the Forever
Young.
Forever
Young. It's egg foo young with crab, so it's a crab foo young, or we also have great escargot, too.
We caught them playing cards in the back of the artworks. What's going on here, ladies?
We're actually learning bridge.
So this is where you've come to learn how to play bridge.
That's right. We have our ladies who know how to play bridge. and then we're just the learners.
And you're having lunch, and you're in this great historic atmosphere at the same time.
Oh, it's a fabulous place.
This is kind of a good Hanford hangout.
It is, especially because it's so eclectic and nothing matches, and we love it, and there's art on the walls, and we have wonderful coffee and freshly made dessert.
Well, she's a very good spokesperson, isn't she? And this is kind of an eclectic group. So we've got a sandwich, we've got cards, and what's the deal on this? That's what I want to know.
That's homemade.
You're busted.
Homemade strawberry shortcake, so that I can eat it.
So
with my coffee.
This is just for you. You're not sharing it with all.
No. I don't share this.
Oh my gosh! Take a close look at this, and ladies, look at it because you're not going to get a single bite of it. She's keeping it all for herself. Lunch has arrived, and now I know why you wanted to eat here, Camille. Your daughter is the chef here.
Yes.
She's very low-key about this thing. Tell us about what we're having today and the history of it in the Wing family.
Well, today we're calling this dish Forever Young, and it's my interpretation, or Artwork's interpretation, of the crab foo young that we served at the Imperial Dynasty restaurant as part of the dinner. And it's we also served it on the pagoda side when we had the Chinese restaurant, and it's been kind of a favorite of many people, and we're just happy we can have it here for everyone to enjoy.
This goes back to your family restaurant, the Imperial Dynasty, which was a mainstay here in Hanford for years and years and years.
It was, and we hope the tradition is still staying alive.
So how many Wings are there in Hanford? When did the Wings come here?
In 1883.
So you've been here for a while.
We've been here for a while. We're old.
And does the cooking of this wonderful food just kind of come along with it?
It's in my blood.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing it, and I like being in the restaurant business.
Well, let's take another close look. What are we looking at here?
It's an egg foo young patty. It's made with eggs and has crab and vegetables in it, and it's sort of like a Chinese pancake, and it's served with our local French bread.
Wow, and it's called Forever Young, cooked by Ariane Wing, who is Camille Wing's daughter, and you are the great-great-granddaughter of the original Wing who came here in
1883.
Lots of wings, lots of history, and lots of good food. The tradition continues right here at Artworks, Forever Young. Now this is interesting. We are right across the street from the old courthouse, and we've hooked up with, your name is?
I'm Danny Humison.
Nice to meet you, sir. You and your parents run this place. This is Hanford's Fox Theater.
Yes, actually it runs us, and Hanford does as well many times. This is the old historic Fox Theater where vaudeville brought silent movies with the mighty Wurlitzer Theater pipe organ and introduced talkies, and most people went through the golden age of movies in this type of movie palace, and this is Hanford's example.
Right, this was built and it's been standing right here since
1929, built by William Fox during the heyday of Fox Theaters. He built and opened about one a day during that heyday.
So it was a big deal, though, for Hanford to get one of these theaters.
It was huge. It was huge. They thought we would get a Paramount or maybe an Orpheum, but a Fox was just as good, and heck, we welcomed it with open arms.
Now, is this still a movie theater?
We still do cinema here on a limited basis. However, we mostly do live shows, so it's actually come full circle. It's gone from a live stage house to a full-on movie house, and now it's both. We've also had weddings here, union meetings.
Well, I know people get married anywhere in Hanford. We've already figured that out. This is a merrying town.
But they throw popcorn here instead of rice.
Okay, now we've come inside this beautiful old Fox Theater. I'm standing here with the couple who actually own this place. Your names are?
Dan and Wilma Humison.
All right, you're the president, CEO, and you make the popcorn on Saturday nights, right?
Oh, yes. True.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about this place is that it almost didn't make it.
That's correct. They were going to gut it and tear this thing down.
Thank goodness that didn't happen, but what happened was you bought this place and restored it and have kept it in all of its grandeur, and people in this town must love this place.
Oh, they do. They do.
We still have people come and ask if they can come up and look at the theater because they had their first kiss here, or he asked her to marry him or something. So, of course, we let them in, and a lot of memories.
So, in other words, anybody who comes up to you and says, we had our first kiss here, you let them in free. I think you need to reevaluate the admissions policy here.
In your dreams.
Well, now, wait a minute. Before we leave, you've got some, when you're up here in the balcony, these are very special seats. Tell us where these seats came from.
These seats came from the third tier in the Grand Fox in San Francisco.
You saved them.
Yes, we did. And we were, you know, the other chairs had, like 22-inch width. These are 24-inch width. And they're rocking chairs. And believe it or not, people come up here, and then we put these tables in, a table for two. And they can, as I'm standing here and I'm walking around, you can actually get up here without having people hit your knees.
Yeah, so these are the good seats up here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What's interesting is instead of throwing away the old trash that we found, Dan decoupaged them onto tables. Here's all.
That's restored trash.
So you saved every bit of history from this old theater.
You got it. You got it. And every table is a different one. Like there's John Wayne and all the different ones. People will come up here and actually say they want to be at Greta Garbo's table.
And you know, this theater has good bones, and it has a good feeling in here. You can almost go back in time to what it must have been like to come here to this Grand Theater back in the days when this was the Grand Theater in this whole part of the valley.
It was, it was.
Well, let's get the two of you all here because you're the real heroes here. You saved this theater.
We did.
And it is an integral part of the heart and soul of life here in Hanford.
I'm so glad you realized that.
Yeah, it feels good in here.
Good, good.
So we're ending up. They're going to sit in the historic seats that have been brought here from the original Fox Theater in San Francisco. Doesn't get any more historic than that.
That's called the Grand Fox.
The Grand Fox, and this is the Hanford Fox.
You got it, built by the same man, William Fox.
Boy, I'm learning my theater history sitting right here. Give us a rock, and let's see how those things rock. Oh, yeah. Okay, we have left the Hanford Fox Theater. And right across the street here, there's the ever-present fire truck. Give us a wave, Mike. There's the old county courthouse. And then there's this beautiful park out here around the courthouse. And look at this beautiful big building here. It's called the Hanford Auditorium. What's the story on this?
Well, this was built in 1924 for the community to have activities in. And also today the city council meets in one section of it. And there's a teen center on the other side.
Now, is it still an auditorium?
Yes, yes. And they still have all kinds of activities there, flower shows, weddings, reunions.
Oh, no, not more weddings. More weddings in Hanford.
We have a very active recreation department here too, so they have a lot of youth events there, and on the far right side of the building is a teen center. So it's just a broad spectrum of things going on.
Beautiful building, and then right over here is the Veterans Memorial Building. What's the deal on that?
Well, that was originally set up as a veterans building, and now it's senior citizens activities that take place in there, and we have pool tables and aerobics classes and things like that.
So you've taken a lot of these beautiful old buildings and kind of repurposed them and given them a whole new life out here right in the center of town.
Absolutely. There's no sense in not renovating these facilities. They're beautiful facilities, and they have a lot of useful activities in them.
And look at this beautiful park out here right in the town square.
Isn't that fun? The park, you can have music, you can have picnics, whatever you want to do.
Okay, next stop on our fire truck tour of Hanford, Dave and Camille have now brought us to this beautiful church. It really makes a statement, and here to tell us about it is
Carol Dyer.
And?
Bob Dyer.
Nice to meet you all. Now, why did they bring us to see this church?
Because this church is a very important piece of history in Kings County.
Why is that?
It was built in 1910. That was when the cornerstone is shown. And it's a unique piece of architecture in the Kings County because it's a Gothic, Old English architecture, has beautiful stained glass window in it. We're very, very proud of how beautiful it is.
We've heard about the stained glass window, and you can see the Gothic architecture, which back in 1910 was probably the only example of Gothic architecture anywhere in this part of California.
Very likely that's the case, yes.
Okay, we are inside the sanctuary, and you know, this feels English in here.
Many people that visit it that have been in Europe and have visited all the fine cathedrals come and say, this is probably just like what we have seen in Europe. And that's a really fun thing for me to hear.
And unexpected in Hanford.
Right.
Quite unexpected indeed.
They're very surprised that it would be here in Hanford. And as I said, it is one of the only churches like this in the valley. Everybody just loves it and is very surprised when they come in and see how beautiful it is.
Okay, now we've come back outside this beautiful historic old church built back in 1910, but now we can give it away, can't we? Because we are here not to visit the old church from 1910. We're here to visit the old church. And that's this little red building tucked away back behind here. And how old does that church, how far back does that church go?
That church was built in 1882.
So this is the old church.
Right. And it was brought here by a team of horses on logs when the new church, as you call it, was built. And that became the chapel for the new church.
I'm getting all the news and the olds mixed up. This was the church before this church was built.
Right.
Why did they have to bring it here on logs?
Because it was way down on the other side of town.
Also, they brought the old church into town on logs and put it behind the new old church.
Right, and it acted kind of as a parish hall, you know, where they had meetings, even gymnasium things that they did, and then they restored the church, the chapel as we call it now. It's been restored, so it's back exactly like it was in 1882.
Now this, I hate to tell you, I liked the old church, but I really like the old church. This feels and smells and I mean it really does have history to it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it really does. It's a beautiful example of a chapel that were built in England. And like we don't even know who the architect is because the plans were probably brought over with the families that came and settled here early. And it was built like the churches they had at home.
Well, it was a little English pioneer church here in Central California.
That's right.
How did these windows survive moving across town when they put this church on logs?
I wish you could tell me. I don't know. It's
think
amazing.
They took them out and then put them back in?
We don't have any data on what happened. Not at all, but it did survive. And when you're in here and you think about that, doing that in 1910 when they moved it here, when the new church was built, it boggles your mind because it would be hard to do it today.
Yeah, with the technology we have today. And they literally put this whole building on logs.
That's right.
And rolled it across
That's
town.
Exactly right.
Okay, this is pretty exciting. It's not often you get to interview the man the town was named after.
It was not named after. It was named by me. Collis Huntington, a real railroad magnate of the Southern Pacific, asked me to bring my surveyor to go out along the Southern Pacific line, pick a site, get the plots, and name the town after me, by me. James Madison Hanford. I thank you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Hanford. It's not often you get to meet the man and the town at the same time. You spend a lot of time. First off, how old are you?
171.
Yeah, he's holding up pretty well for 171. Now let's get out of character for just a minute, because you appear at various functions around town playing Mr. Hanford, don't you?
Yes, I do. The name is Bob Case. I've lived in Hanford since 1957. Raised my family here, and was involved with the community theater, and then Dave Jones asked me to become involved in this progressive dinner thing that we're doing. And it's been delightful. The people have reacted very positively, and we had a group down from Roseville who just enjoyed themselves immensely.
Meeting Mr. Hanford.
Yeah, it was
and
really
you
fun.
Look like James Madison Hanford.
I don't know whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, but you do have a resemblance.
Yes, I realized that, especially that really ugly picture. We should have that here so people can see it.
Oh, no, we'll put it up on the screen. Don't worry about that. Nice to meet you, sir. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And we're doing this interview with you in a very historic place, and here to tell us about it, Camille, you have brought us over to, this has to be one of the most historic, I was going to say streets, but actually it's an alley.
Well, they refer to it as an alley, but it is a street.
Where are we now?
We're in Hanford's Chinatown, and this is known as China Alley.
Now, what is China Alley?
Well, it's where the Chinese settled and had sort of a city within a city. They had all their own necessities, such as grocery stores and barber shops, and they had the first Chinese medical doctor here, an herbalist, and this was their home.
So this was the heart and soul of Hanford's Chinatown. How many Chinese were here at their peak?
Well, they say from 600 to 800. I have no proof of that in written form.
So this was a hustling, bustling place right here. If we'd been here back in the 1920s and the 1930s, there would have been all kinds of activities going on up and down this alley.
Yes, yes. We had, well, as I say, they had the grocery stores, and they had gambling houses, many of those, and the whole town came down here to mark lottery tickets. So it was always a busy time.
So there was a lottery here before there was a lottery.
Yes. In fact, our lottery here supported our Chinese school.
Now we've come to what has to be one of the most beautiful and one of the most historic places on all of China Alley. Where are we now, Camille?
Well, we're in front of the Taoist Temple, and this was a place where gatherings were held for meetings for the club that organized this temple. Today we've made it into an historic tourist place.
And it is, well, it is beautiful outside, but you tell me it's even more beautiful and more authentic inside.
Correct.
So let's go inside. And what's interesting about it is we're not going in the ground floor, we're going up the steps, right?
Right.
The temple is actually up these stairs. Oh boy, way up these stairs. Okay, we are on the second floor. We are in the temple, and I gotta tell you, Camille, this place has the authentic feel and look and smell of a very historic place. How did it survive all these years intact? Because this looks like the original thing.
It is. This is the way we found this room when we started our restoration in the 1970s. And we've kept it this way. And I don't know why it's still here. We're just lucky nothing burned it down or stole it or anything. So we're just fortunate.
Because now, was this an actual place of worship? What actually happened up here?
Yes, this was built by the Saviour Association, and this was the clubhouse, so to speak, or their place of meeting, but they also provided a place for worship, so that people who came from the specific area in China came here to worship and also to participate in their meetings.
Now, is this open to the public today? It's not still a place where people come to worship.
No, the Taoist Temple Preservation Society has taken it over, and we've restored the building, and we make it available for the public to see on specific times, like first Saturday of the month, and also by special request for tours.
Wow, it's just absolutely beautiful, and you don't even have to really, you know, put yourself that far back in time to imagine what this must have been like, because it's still this way today.
Right, that's right. We can just imagine the people up here having their meetings.
Yeah.
Or coming up to burn incense or worship.
Here we go. We're coming out of these wonderful steel doors on the balcony level of the Taoist Temple, because no tour of China Alley would be complete without a bird's eye look down the way here. And I got to tell you, Camille, this really shows how old these remaining buildings are. You've got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yes, we have, and that's the goal of the Taoist Temple Preservation Society, to save the buildings in Chinatown.
Well, now they're probably saved now. Nothing's going to happen to them, but they've got to still be restored and brought back to life.
Correct. We hope someday that the Imperial Dynasty will be open again, and they will.
The old restaurant.
Right.
You've got the temple here, and then looking right down here, here's a part of the alley that we hadn't really looked at before, but it goes all the way down here. It's just about a block long, but it's what's left, and it's a very important part of Hanford's history.
Yes, it is.
Now, this is a total surprise, but as we were leaving China Alley, I spotted this lady over here and came over and said, "What's your story?" And it's an amazing story. This is where you live, right here.
Yes.
Your name is?
Naomi Tagawa.
And you've lived here in Hanford for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, we had, yes, I was born here in Hanford. And we had our 70th class reunion.
Oh, boy.
About 2 weeks ago.
All right. Now, look, we walked from your house to your place of business, and this looks historic as well. What's the story here?
Well, it was a boarding house, so it's 2 stories.
And you know, this building and your house, this ought to be on the historic register of places in Hanford.
Well, I think it's in the historic district, but not in the... It's hysterical.
Well, as our road trip continues, we have left historic downtown Hanford. We've come about 5 miles out of town. We're in the middle of an agricultural area. The wind is blowing, the dust is blowing, and we've come to this amazing place with the tractor in the background. This is very surreal. Introduce yourself to everybody and tell us where we are.
Well, we'd like to welcome you, Huell. My name is Paula Ametchin. I'm a former board chair of the Clark Center for Japanese Art and Culture. This is where you have arrived, and you're looking at the gallery behind us. And we're standing in the middle of the traditional rock and gravel garden, Japanese garden.
Listen.
I know.
I've had a lot of surprises on this road trip to Hanford. This tops them all. And I'm not alone in thinking this, am I?
Absolutely not. When guests come, they are always amazed to find such a choice to call it the treasure out in the field. And it truly is a treasure, as you will see.
What is this? Why is this here?
The Bill and Libby Clark, who are the owners of the collection and the garden and the home here, this is their 5th generation family from California. Bill tells the story of in 5th grade down the road in a 1-room schoolhouse, he turned the page and he saw a picture of a Japanese garden, and it stuck with him for a lifetime.
So he has been fascinated by Japanese art and culture since he was a boy here in the Central Valley.
Absolutely, and he was stationed in Japan during the war, came back, and in the 70s he was able to start collecting.
Okay, the adventure begins. Paula's walking me down to this part of the grounds, and here to greet me, he's guarding the gate right over here. Your name, sir?
Bob Borrow. Nice to meet you.
All right, now you're going to tell us about this part of the experience, because this gate's closed. The public can't come in here, but the public can come and stand here and look over here like we're doing. And what are we looking at?
Can you handle one more surprise?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a genuine Japanese garden. It's patterned after the imperial gardens, which in Kyoto, which are called stroll gardens or Tsukuyama gardens. This was designed by a garden master from Tokyo named Koto Matsubara. And Mr. Matsubara was hired 34 years ago by Mr. and Mrs. Clark. And he came here and built this garden over a period of maybe 20, 30 years.
And the reason the general public can't come past this gate and go over this beautiful traditional Japanese bridge is because the Clarks actually live here in the middle of all of this.
That's right. And poor Mrs. Clark, Libby, said she'd love to open her garden to the public. And after a few months of that, she said, you know, all these people appearing in the windows, it's a little bit of, intrusive. So,
but that's okay, because we're going to be showing pictures that we're going to shoot right here from where the public can stand.
That's right.
To show just how beautiful it is without having to actually go into the private grounds themselves. And what I got to tell you, what I find so interesting about all this is this beautiful traditional Japanese home, this beautiful traditional Japanese garden is right here in the middle of these huge open agricultural flat fields of Central California.
Right. Only a person with extraordinary vision and an addiction for Japanese art could do such a thing. And the reality is that we had walnut orchards surrounding this at one time, but they were diseased, and so they had to be removed, and they'll be replanted this next year. So eventually we'll be in the middle of a walnut orchard again.
Okay, now we've come into the main gallery. We've taken off our shoes, and I'm standing here with our tour guide is Celine from France, of all places. You were here as a visiting intern curator in training.
That's it.
Here at this center.
Yes, exactly.
All right, now tell us what we're looking at now, because this is the pride and joy of this whole center, isn't it?
Yes, exactly, because what we have here, the ceramics are, we have the biggest collection in the world of this type of ceramic. The artist, his name is Fukami Suehara, and he's an artist in Kyoto, and you see he's doing this kind of very big sculptural porcelains with a celadon, so that very light green color.
And people who know this kind of art know this artist. This is exciting to see his work.
Because, you know, most museums have a couple of pieces, one or two, but not many. And thanks to Bill Clark, actually, we happen to have the largest collection in the world. So.
All right, and this is part of the permanent collection here in this part of the gallery. But look in here, and we've got our light kind of turned down as low as we can get it, because you don't like a lot of light in here. This is very expensive and, you know, fragile art that we're looking at. And this room is filled with an ongoing collection that changes every 3 or 4 months.
Yes, the collection actually has around 1,500 pieces now. And so you see we don't have a very big space. So that's why we are doing a show kind of every 3 months.
And people come here literally, I've heard, from all over the world to see this Japanese art in Hanford.
Yes, we do have groups of people, groups of scholars from Japanese university, for instance, or from international study groups too. So they come all over the world to study what we have here.
And is it because of the variety? Is it because this is all part of a single collection that has been acquired by the center and by the Clark family themselves? What is it that so intrigues so many people?
Because the collection is actually kind of unusual. Bill Clark, contrary to a lot of collectors, doesn't have a very, very specific, he's not very focused on just one type of objects, but kind of buys what he likes, but on a kind of broad range. So his collection is very intriguing on that way.
Now, coming over here as an art student from France, were you surprised and amazed at what you found when you came here?
Like everybody, when they finally find us in the middle of nowhere, you know?
Well, don't say the middle of nowhere, just in an unexpected place.
Yes, totally, totally.
Well, that's it. This has to be the most unexpected, bizarre, and yet wonderful stop on this whole road trip. Once again, it's called the
Clark Center for Japanese Art and Culture.
It is well worth a visit. And look at this juxtaposition. We've got this beautiful Japanese gate here, and then look right out here. This is the real thing. We're back in California. It doesn't get any more authentic than this. The machinery's working, the field is getting plowed, the dust is blowing. This is the real thing. Now we're heading back into Hanford, back into town, to continue this wonderful road trip that's been filled with unexpected delights. Oh boy, we've done it now. Bring it on over here. Look at this. You're not gonna eat all of that.
I hope so.
You're not gonna eat all that.
I better.
Oh my.
We're gonna stay here till we get it finished.
Oh my. Get in here and get a tight shot of this. I've never, what is that called?
Oh.
That's a banana split.
That's a banana split. Can't you see the banana sticking out of there?
Where are we? This is such an exciting place.
Well, we're in Superior Dairy. It's been here since 1929. It's been owned by the Jones and the Wing family, and it's one of the finest ice cream places in the country.
Boy, that Wing family keeps coming up all over town. How's the Wing family part of this?
My nephew married into the Bowden family.
Who had owned it all along?
Right, yes.
Wow, this is very exciting. It's obvious that this is a place to hang out and enjoy yourself.
Yep, this is it.
What do? Go home, take a nap afterwards?
Well, yeah, it's worth it, you know.
How often do you come here?
Whenever, every chance I get.
Look at this. So they specialize in these kind of, what is this? They make the ice cream here?
They make the ice cream here in the back. Same way they made it since 1929.
Was this a dairy?
It was a dairy, and they had a full line of dairy products. Wow. Now they specialize in just the ice cream.
Now, I didn't want the banana split. I just ordered 1 scoop of vanilla ice cream, right?
Yep.
This is 1 scoop.
Yep.
1 scoop.
1 scoop.
1 scoop.
Well, you know, that's what we call a scoop here.
So this has got to be, you know, something that amazes people when they come to town and come into this place and order a scoop of ice cream.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing scoop. Usually the locals say, put that in a cup for me.
So is this part of the tradition here as well?
Absolutely. That's part of the tradition.
Well, it's also part of the tradition to try to eat something this big. Do you want to try a little bit of it?
No, thank you.
Do you want any of it?
Well, you're our guest.
I think I'm stuck with it.
You're stuck with it, yeah.
And it's interesting because we came in here at kind of a quiet time right after a late lunch. You say at night this place is packed.
It is packed at night, and they just keep coming in until late hours.
Now this is homemade Hanford ice cream.
Right?
Yes.
Right in the back.
Oh my God.
They just make it in small batches, and you can get just about any flavor you want.
Boy, that's good ice cream.
Isn't that good? Yeah.
And I think it tastes even better when you realize that it's homemade, that it's made right here in Hanford.
Exactly. Well, the Jones family has always, and Wings, have done a great job of continuing on the tradition here. And all those kids you see coming to town probably have come over here today to get an ice cream cone. That's part of the trip.
All the school kids, they come here as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the kids come in, have an ice cream cone after riding the carousel in the fire truck.
Wait a minute, you mean each one of those kids gets an ice cream cone this big?
No, we have a little smaller version for the kids. In fact, we have a special school cone.
A school cone?
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd have a disaster in every group.
Well, you'd have ice cream all over, plus this place would go out of business giving out this many cones to that many kids.
They're absolutely right.
Wow, well, I'm glad I didn't get the school kid version. I got the grown-up kid version, and here it is. It's beginning to drip on me, but it's a Hanford ice cream cone made with Superior
ice cream.
Superior ice cream right here in Hanford. Been here just like this since
1929.
And it's still going strong. Before we leave, we're coming over to check up on our friends here. Now, I've got one one scoop here. I just wanted to see how you're working on this thing.
I'm doing fine.
You're attacking it methodically.
Look at that.
You're working on yours, you're working on yours, your wife is working on hers.
Oh yeah, we're really hard working.
Another group of kids, and this group is from
McKinley Elementary School in Bakersfield, California.
Okay, and you're getting ready to go home on the train.
We have spent a lovely time in small town America, Hanford, and we are getting ready to go home. That's true.
Like to hear, small town America.
We love that.
We adore your carousel and your fire truck and just your friendly atmosphere. I mean, we can walk 88 kids across the street and traffic waits for us, waves us on. Everybody's kind and wonderful, and we just enjoy coming here as our end of the year celebration of kindergarten.
Is this why you came to Hanford? Did you know what you were in store for?
This is our 14th trip to Hanford.
Really?
And we come back every single year to give our kids a taste of small town America and a little bit of the way it used to be. Riding the carousel, playing duck, duck, goose with your teacher, leapfrog, fountain.
Walking around the town.
We walked around, we took pictures, we had a marvelous time.
Wait a minute, you got some of that Superior ice cream?
$167 worth.
Oh!
That's more than you had today.
They're adding to the local economy on top.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, here's our group from Fresno.
Yes, hi
They're from
again.
Bakersfield, you're from Fresno.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Did you have as good a time as they did?
We had a great job. We had a great time.
What grade are you?
Second grade?
Kindergarten. Did you get the ice cream as well?
Yeah, you don't see it on our faces?
Did everybody get ice cream? Yeah! Here comes the train, right into downtown Hanford, right on time. And boy, this is time for me to say thank you. We've had an absolutely wonderful time here. I don't know how you rank everything we've done, from the food, from the ice cream, to the museums, to the town itself, to the people we've met. It's all right here in Hanford.
That's right. You can rank us number one.
You are ranked number one.
Right. Hanford has it.
Hanford has it.
Yeah.
And you're leaving, the kids are leaving right now. Now, which is this the group going to Fresno or to Bakersfield?
This is the Fresno group.
One group's heading to Fresno, the other group's going the other way to Bakersfield.
That's correct. There'll be another train in here in a few minutes.
And we're going back to L.A.
All right.
Last call for Hanford, all aboard!
It's all right here in Hanford. We've seen it all on this road trip. Boy, did we have fun in Hanford. A friendly, historic town that's well worth a visit. And if you'd like to see this particular road trip again, or share it with family or friends, of course it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Road Trip with Huell has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Wherever you're headed on your next road trip, the Auto Club knows the territory. For travel tips or comprehensive destination information, as well as booking your next family vacation, our website is a great first stop on any journey, no matter how far away your destination may be. Through all life's travels, we're always with you.